Hello guys, this is Donald's Movies, and welcome to the World of Warcraft lore Q&A number 63. The question for today's video is by D-Punk1,000,000, and he asks, can you do a video on your prediction what Blizzard plans to do with Lady Sylvanas Windrunner? Okay, so I definitely can't do a video as I'm doing right now, but this question has been asked for so many times during the Q&As. I know I answered it multiple times, but there is just so much stuff about this, and I kinda want to share my thoughts in like a full video and give my speculations on the entire thing and the entire possibility of her maybe turning evil or turning into a new Lich King. So usually when I would discuss something like this, I would give you some sort of lore, but there is just so much lore for Sylvanas, and if I was going to give you her entire lore, it would take like 30 or 40 minutes because there's just so much stuff about her. But I'm just going to give you a really short summary and hopefully you should be up to speed. Now, she was obviously high elf, as you can see from her figure and her model, and she was a ranger general, which is a pretty big position in their military, and she played a huge part in the defense of Quel'Thalas against the Scourge attack led by Arthas, and she was actually doing quite well for the starters, and she kept the Scourge at bay. She was like distracting them, and she had some tactics. But eventually everything backfired on her because Arthas was just way more powerful and he had quite a big military, or at least I won't really say it's a military, it's like a scourge full of undead, because when he kills someone he reses them and it just gets stronger and stronger whenever he kills someone. So her resistance was really pissing Arthas off, and instead of just killing her and just giving her a clean death, he actually res her as an undead banshee and he forced her to serve him. Now later on she rebelled, and a big part of that was her willpower, but that wasn't the main thing. The main thing why she managed to get free was because Arthas was starting to get weaker, and also other undead managed to break out, and they came to be known as a faction called the Forsaken. Of course, it wasn't just all fine and dandy. It's not like they freed themselves and now they're gonna live this happily ever after life. And the thing is, they were threatened by all their surrounding, especially the humans, because they wanted their kingdom of Lordaeron back, because that's where the Forsaken settled in. They made their undercity just below the capital city of Lordaeron, and that really pissed off the humans, and they were really on the verge of just attacking them. And Sylvanas sent all these like different submissions to all these factions just so she can ally herself, so that she has someone to help her. And eventually the Horde responded to her submission of an alliance, but mainly the reason for that was because they wanted a strategic position in the Eastern Kingdoms, because the Alliance was their big enemy at the time, and having a position like an entire continent, or at least part of a continent in the Eastern Kingdom, is a huge deal for the Horde. So that is the main reason for that. And the Forsaken did join the Horde, but we all know that they aren't exactly the most loyal part of it, and I think Blizzard has just been pushing out that team for a very long time now, pretty much since the beginning of World of Warcraft. Like, they always say stuff like "death to the living," "we will slaughter anyone that stands in our way," and all that fun stuff, I guess. And that's really not something you would hear from like an orc or a troll. Obviously, I mean, they're not undead, but it's just not something you would hear from them, because the entire message, or at least the meaning of the death to the living, is a huge giveaway. Because I mean, the Horde are the living, most of the races, or at least all the races of the Horde are the living except for the Forsaken, and it kind of sends a strong message that they mainly care about themselves and that they're only with the Horde because it benefits them and they get from them. It's not because they love the Horde and they just want to help Orgrimmar grow or help the Horde grow. Now, another hint would be the Darkmoon Faire, and you know the little cards you get, like the fortune cards, and there's a sentence that says the Forsaken are up to something, and I believe there's also different ones that they may have removed from the game, because I remember seeing something like that. And this has been in the game for quite a long time now, and I think it is a bit of a hidden hint by Blizzard that wants to say that there's something going on with the Forsaken, and there might be a future expansion where the Forsaken will do something. So this feeling of the Forsaken turning on us, I mean turning on the Horde, is pretty much all over the game. I mean, through the quest zones, through all these different hints and all these different stuff that we see. Now, obviously, they can't just make all the Forsaken evil, like they don't like the Horde anymore, so they're gonna leave, because, you know, there's players playing the game with the Forsaken. So I see a scenario if they did something like that, they will be like the loyalists to the Horde, and the other Forsaken would be the rebels led by Sylvanas. So I can see something like that going on, but I definitely wouldn't see something like the entire faction or like the race going away from the Horde, because a lot of players would definitely complain. So that is about the Forsaken throughout World of Warcraft, but a huge turning point for them was the Wrath Gate and the end of the Wrath of the Lich King, because at the Wrath Gate, some of the Forsaken, they actually decided to put their dead to the living to good use and actually do something about it, and they killed so much of the Alliance and the Horde members, and ever since then the Forsaken have just been completely mistrusted, and all the people of the Horde just feel like they will backstab them at some point, and not a lot of people just trust the Forsaken, so that is a huge turning point for them. But the most important part for the Forsaken was the death of the Lich King and their leader Sylvanas. So I don't know if you knew, but the main goal for the Forsaken was pretty much to band together as the victims of Arthas and just kill Arthas finally. So it's not like you can just live a happily ever after life with the Forsaken, because they're not really humans. I mean, they're dead after all, and there's not really much they can do. So that is the main reason why Sylvanas actually decided to kill herself, and she jumped off the cliff when Arthas died. So she kinda thought, I mean, I fulfilled my task and it was my time to go and get out of this misery. But sadly, that wasn't really what was going on, because when she died, the Warcraft universe just didn't really care how she died, how sad her story was, how she was defending her people, and she fell and turned into the undead, because all of the undead go to hell. I guess it's a very dark place. It's like a version of hell in the Warcraft universe, so that is definitely not something you're looking forward to. There's not like this afterlife that everyone's imagining about in this like amazing place. So it was not exactly what she was looking for when she was looking to get out of her misery. I mean, her life was destroyed by Arthas, and now she has to spend her eternity in such a dark place. But luckily, the Valkyr offered her an opportunity to be resurrected if she was going to be their new master, since Arthas was their master and he died and they needed a new master. And obviously she accepted, and ever since then the Valkyr have been used to raise other Forsaken and bolster their numbers. So this is a really big turning point for Sylvanas when she realizes this, because I know most of you guys think that Sylvanas just loves the Forsaken and she is like their mother, and that is the only reason why she is struggling with the entire misery and she only wants to keep them safe. But I have a bit of a different theory, and of course there is some of the patriotism in it and the fact that she loves the Forsaken, but I don't really think the making of the new plague and all the technologies and all these recent war campaigns are because she wants to defend her people and because she loves them. But I think the main reason for that is because she wants to defend herself, and the reason for that is because she's just scared to die. She just doesn't want to die, and she saw what would happen if she died, and ever since then she has been doing everything possible to not die again and go to that place again, and she had just been shielding herself with the armies and the Forsaken and just wants to delay the inevitable as long as humanly, or I guess undeadly, possible. So I think that is the main reason why I see such a sudden spike of military power. Like if you hit a chart, you would see like a straight line, and just after Wrath of the Lich King, there is like a huge spike in military power. And the main reason for that is because since Wrath of the Lich King, like she saw that her numbers were dwindling and the Forsaken don't really last that long, they can't really reproduce, and some of them actually even rot after a certain time, and she actually needed a way to rebuild that and fix the weaknesses and make the Forsaken become a shield and stay as long as possible. Now of course, don't get me wrong, this doesn't mean that she is entirely selfish, but I think this is a huge part of her plan, even though I think she genuinely cares about her people, since, you know, she went through the same struggles as they did and she pretty much walks in their shoes every day. So there is a big compassion between Sylvanas and her people, and you won't see something like that between Sylvanas and like orcs or trolls. Like she doesn't really care about orcs, trolls, tauren or the other races. So the question is, what is the future plan for Sylvanas? So I know at BlizzCon 2013 they said that she will have her spotlight in a future expansion, but I'm honestly starting to doubt that, as Blizzard just likes to promise so much stuff, especially Chris Metzen. And yeah, I'm looking at you, Chris Metzen, because he promises so much stuff and they never really fulfill that, and I'm kinda starting to not really trust them as much, and all of their new like the announcements, I really tend to not trust it as I used to. But I do see a scenario where she might want to turn into like a new version of the Lich King. Not necessarily like Bolvar type of a Lich King or controlling the Scourge, but controlling the world so that no one can oppose her and she can survive as long as possible. Although I do consider her an intelligent character and she has experienced all these villains. I mean, she has been for the Horde for like the past 10 years now, and she fought all these villains like Deathwing, Arthas, Garrosh and all of the others, and she saw how pretty much everyone like the Alliance and the Horde banded together against them, And I think she would think twice before attempting to do something like that, or at least secretly spending a lot of time working on like a new technology, or like building a huge army in secret so that her efforts might be worth it. Alright, so that is all I have for this video. I really do hope this answered a lot of the Sylvanas questions, since as I said I get them a lot throughout all the videos. And do leave your suggestions on what you think about her and what you think is going to happen with her in the future. And if you like the video, don't forget to like and subscribe, as it really helps out the channel and keeps all these videos going. And also, I haven't really done that many videos in the past like the week or two. I've uploaded like a video every 4 days, and the main reason for that is because I got some schoolwork to finish by April, and there's also like some other stuff that I'm working on, and also the fact that GTA 5 was released. So hopefully by the end of April or the start of May, I should get on the regular schedule, and I might even get back into streaming, so you can follow me on the Twitch channel below. And thanks a lot for taking the time out of your day to watch this video, and see you next time.